Welcome to another episode of Sunday Speaks. I, as always, am Cheyenne Severin, and this is...
Morgan, hi.
Morgan, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going to be coming to Recovery Day on September 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So hopefully
Yes.
some of our other guests this month are going to be coming as well. Look forward to more information on that soon. We're going to be putting up information on our website, posting about it, but it's a big event once a year, so be ready. But today, I'm here again just with Morgan, and we're going to be talking about wholeness and wellness because Morgan, you are pretty well versed in that fields, especially
Yes.
with things like yoga.
Yes. So I'm many things, but among one is a yoga and mindfulness instructor. It's kind of like my passion job, you could say,
Mm-hmm.
because it helps me so much personally that like I volunteer a lot. I give it just for free because I want everyone to do yoga, especially like people who don't want to spend money on themselves. Like it's hard for people to spend money on themselves, so I want to just give it to everyone for free.
So, we talked a little bit about it last time you were on here, which was a while ago now, but just to remind everyone, how did you end up finding yoga?
So in December of 2018, I found out a health diagnosis of thyroid cancer, and I was 4 months sober. And so while I was doing all the right things, the right things physically, mentally, I was in therapy, I was going to the gym. It kind of like gave me like this, like, oh my God, like, what? Like I was angry. And I was scared to be angry at the time because it was at 4 months sober.
Yeah.
But people get put in your life for a reason. And I had a friend at the time who introduced yoga to me. And I have done yoga before, but like it was always like, I don't know, I never had a good experience with it. But I also always struggled with myself because of substances or mental health or what have you. So then literally the day that me and my friend did like a yoga session, and she kind of just showed me like the basics, kind of just sparked, and like it's not hard, we all know how to do like essential stretches, and like we see it and we can kind of just intuitively find some like good stretches in our body. And so like I went home and like I just did it for hours because it was like right after my second surgery, and like I like was having just this whole thing with my body, with my neck feeling very like tight, and like wanting to be able to have the same range of motion, and having a whole thing with physical therapy, not liking physical therapy and trying to make my own physical therapy. So it's been a roller coaster, but like yoga has helped kind of balance it, or a plan where it really does help like with balance and just overall.
So, last time we talked, I don't know if it was about like the spiritual aspects of yoga, or you had things on the back of your wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the yamas and the niyamas, I actually brought it. Oh, it's blurred. But so yoga is much more than just the physical movements. Yoga has 8 limbs, and movement, and like so asanas is poses. So that is only one of 8 limbs. There's meditation, there's mindful breathing, 2 different things. There's mindful, different ways of being mindful. I don't want to like butcher the 8 limbs of yoga. If you Google the 8 limbs of yoga, it breaks down like the different aspects of it, because it's actually a mindset. It's not just the movement, but it's like the mindset during the movement, the mindset off the mat. And so the yamas and the niyamas are what resonate with me personally. And I know a lot of people who have struggled with mental health, who have found yoga and have become yoga instructors, have also been attracted by the yamas and the niyamas. So they're kind of principles of how to treat others and how to treat yourself. There's 5, and it's very like straightforward. I would just say them like very like briefly, because they're kind of just, before I say them, I've heard all of these things in different ways said to me as coping skills, as how to like be in life and things, but it's never been laid out like this for me. So I'm a very visual person, and being able to like, have it, it's literally as a treat.
Mm-hmm.
um, so the yamas are how to treat others. Um, One is avoiding hoarding and greediness. The next is consciously directing your energy. The next is not stealing. The next is telling the truth. And the last is practicing nonviolence.
Mm.
So all of those are kind of overall arching topics because, for instance, telling the truth can look different in many capacities. Not stealing can look differently, like my yoga instructor would say plagiarizing. Copying a flow of another yoga instructor is not going to feel as good as coming up with your own. That's kind of one of the principles for that reason, but also for other areas of life. Like in school, plagiarizing the paper never felt good, but did I do it? Probably. and it didn't feel as good as if I wrote it and genuinely like put it out there. So while people have told me this, right, don't plagiarize and don't hit people and don't steal, it's just a different way of looking at it. And then how to treat yourself is the other side of it. So one is cleanliness. So like kind of clean house, clear mind. The next is trying to be content with what you have. Doing your best, which is my favorite. Study yourself and just general like self-studies, learning about yourself. And the last is my favorite, Ishvara Pranidhana, which kind of means stay humble, stay grounded, kind of stay within yourself, and whatever it is for you that does that the most. Like for me, it is yoga. It's the physical practice of yoga, or it is taking a bath, like things, journaling, things like that, that take me back to like, out of my body or helping others even. Doing things like speaking for Alumni Recovery helped me humble myself, and, working with the Black Poster Project shows me like, I still have to stay in my recovery every day. So I practice these things, and it's nice to have like an actual outline that exists. And so when I did come across it, when I decided to become a yoga instructor, it's like I never looked back, and I love to teach other people about it. Hence why it was on my wall.
So, staying humble, that's a big thing for you. That's your favorite one. You mentioned one other one. That you liked.
Self-study.
Yes.
It's pronounced the Sanskrit word. I just didn't want to butcher all of them, but this one is svadhyaya.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun to say. And it's self-study. So, like journaling is a big one. I like to art journal now because sometimes I just can't find words for how I'm feeling, but stickers are fun. Flowers are fun. Drawing is fun. So that's been a way for me to self-study, but also for me, therapy, going right now, I actually have a sponsor and I'm working the steps. So that is a way of self-study, like just different, various ways of learning about myself in any capacity.
Okay. So through this journey and through your practice of yoga and all that, what do you think is one of the biggest things that you've learned about yourself?
I think that the literal sense of connecting my mind and body helped my neck become less of an enemy. That's kind of the literal way of saying it, but to break it down a little bit more, when I found out I had cancer at 21, I was so angry and my body started to feel like an enemy to me. And it soon started to feel like there was an invader in my body when I realized that my body is my home, when I'm doing yoga and all this stuff. So it's kind of coming to peace with that. And another big part of my spirituality is just believing in something bigger than myself. Because if everything's up to myself, I'd be screwed. So that's like a big part of my recovery is also like staying humble and grounding myself and remembering like I'm not like, not that I'm saying I'm self-centered, but like trying to catch myself and like realizing like the world's not about me. Other people's reactions, they're not about me. And how I act is like, that's about me. And that's what I need to focus on. So it kind of just helps me come back to myself at the end of the day in all aspects. And that's what's most important. And it aligns with addiction recovery so much because a daily check-in is just necessary in whatever. And it doesn't mean you have to do the physical movement on the mat. You can practice it whatever way you want to. So I try to do something every day that practices one of those 8 limbs that I mentioned before.
Mm. So, besides yoga, I know we touched on a few things in general, but is there anything else that helps you with that mindfulness and wholeness or anything?
Yeah, I like to mindfully hike. I'm sure many people have caught on that I have a crazy husky who has appeared in my recovery because she encourages me to get out of the house. And something I love to do is forget about there for a second, like pause and just enjoy the quiet, enjoy yourself because you don't really get that many times. So, yeah.
Morgan, I'm sorry. The connection is getting better, I think, but the last response that you gave was pretty butchered.
Oh no. Do we want to just go to another question?
Yeah.
I don't even. Okay.
So just because, okay, you have a husky, mindful hiking
Oh yeah,
sounds.
no, yeah, no, I'll just talk about mindful hiking and mindful walking. That's what I also wanted to say. So just, a lot of people will walk with their phone in their hand.
Mhm.
Myself guilty of it all the time. So putting my phone in a backpack or whatever and trying to just focus on the path, trying to focus on whatever, I like hiking apps that, give you trails and do ridiculous like twists and turns. So trying to focus on where I am, what I'm doing. And it's like, you're forced to pay attention. I like, going places. Something that I liked to do a lot in my early recovery was going to tiny houses with my husky and just, tuning out the world for a few days because there usually wasn't much service. And if there was, it was very challenging. And that kind of just showed me that like I needed to challenge myself some more. So kind of extracting myself from the world in whatever way, whether it be mindful walking, mindful writing, mindful hiking, and also like, as I always say, baths.
Mhm.
That's just my little thing. That is my favorite thing.
Mhm. Just because you mentioned walking and hiking and everything, I'm curious. You ever do geocaching?
No,
Okay. Do you know what geocaching is?
no, I do not
Okay.
actually.
So geocaching is something that people do, where it's like this whole community around it, and there are like apps for it and everything. And this is what made me think of that, where people hide just little like containers, like along trails and in the woods and everything. So if you see
Wow,
ones nearby, you just go, and usually there's like a list inside where you sign your name, just like, hey, I was here, and you can like mark it on the app and be
that's
like, I found this, and people do like a take and leave system.
oh
So
my god, that's so cool. I'm
yeah,
gonna do that. I'm definitely gonna do that.
something you might
See,
be
that's what I
interested in.
love. It's like when you talk about things, like everybody like knows, different coping skills on a different, like a different capacity. So like, about that. And I never heard about that, but that's like super duper cool. I love that. I use an app called All Trails, which
Mm-hmm.
just, you can, record your trail. So then if also, cause I enjoyed a lot in early recovery hiking alone, because I needed that quiet. So it's like a tracker at the same time. So if you don't ever like record that you're back, it'll, support emergency services and stuff like that. So
Oh,
these
that's
apps are really good. There's actually a lot of good apps for mindfulness. I know a lot of people use like Headspace. That's been a really helpful meditation app that
mm-hmm.
helped me a lot with the cancer. Actually, they have a coping with cancer course that's been helpful because a lot of people who are into mindfulness also are very visual thinkers, including myself.
Mm-hmm.
um, so like visual meditations on the actual screen of your phone and things like that are always nice.
Mm. So you're a visual thinker. That makes sense because I know when you used to make a lot of the graphics and everything for Alumni and Recovery.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's another passion of mine, is just like creating in many different capacities. But whether it's like painting or creating digital art, graphic art, it's all fun for me. Other people get really stressed by that, but like for me, I don't know. It's a passion. And I didn't know that until sobriety, because I probably wouldn't have been able to fully comprehend some of the stuff I was doing. And if I was doing it, because I always did like these things, I wasn't doing it to my full capacity, into my fullness, and wholeness, kind of like the conversation topic of wholeness. Like without all these wellness things, I do not feel whole. And so when I slack a little bit, I feel it. And a lot of people do, because people have different things for their wellness and different things to keep themselves well and to keep themselves whole. So whatever it is that you know that you're not doing is usually the thing that's going to help you feel most whole. Like for me today, like I know I need to do yoga, like the physical act of yoga, because I've had like a long week, and I just know. So being aware of that has been another helpful tool of mine.
Mm-hmm. So, just in the broader range of spirituality, just because we touched on it a little bit earlier, in terms of recovery in general, well, in terms of recovery, just because it's come up a few different times during Sunday Speaks and everything, where some people find that spirituality helps them with their recovery. Do you think, well, you think that's like an important aspect for you, right? The spirituality?
Yes,
Yes.
I definitely think if I thought I was in control of everything that goes on, like I used to think when I was using, like I thought everything was my fault. Everyone hated me. Everyone this towards me, you know, everything that towards me. Like it was all about me. So remembering that I'm just kind of like part of the big picture and trying to think of the big picture, sometimes that's what kind of helps me stay humble. And like religiously, like I'm very like, I'm not religious. I just believe like the universe,
Yeah.
whatever that may be, has some sort of plan that has put me through this, because a lot of people have gone through similar things and have not come out alive. So a big one for me is, I used to say, why me? And it wasn't helpful. And at some point, I forget who, someone told me, say, why not me? Because why not you? Like, why shouldn't it be you? You're a young, strong girl in recovery. You didn't find out while you were using. Like, there's a reason. And so that's a big one too. And I know a lot of people actually, like, you know, I've heard them say, instead of why me, why not me? And so it's funny how things follow you throughout the journey too, because I think that that's a spiritual thing kind of that follows me, the whole why me and why not me. Because it's a humbling, you know, statement.
I've never heard of that before, and I really like that. Thank you, Morgan. That being said, we have a little less than a minute left. Do you have any final remarks, any comments, questions, concerns?
Nope, nothing I could think of.
Okay.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry about any connection problems driving down the shore 4th of July weekend. So
no.